Hey everybody, it's Father Sean here. Welcome back to another episode of the Couch Chat. And today is July the 22nd, which is the feast day of Saint Mary Magdalene. So today the church celebrates, as they call her, the apostle to the apostles. So an apostle is one that is sent, and so Mary Magdalene is sent by Jesus to the apostles, to the 12. So that's how she gets this title, the apostle to the apostles, the one who is sent to the people who are then sent out to the ends of the world. And of course, Mary Magdalene is sent at the tomb. She is there early on the morning of Easter Sunday, not knowing exactly what had happened yet or that anything had happened yet. And she's there to anoint the body of Jesus. She gets there early because the previous day was the Sabbath, the day of rest. Mary Magdalene gets there searching for our Lord and finds the tomb, of course, empty, angel there. And there she is, just kind of bewildered. And in John's gospel, we learn that she looks to the gardener who shows up, or who she thinks is the gardener. Turns out it's Jesus, and there's this kind of frantic search for our Lord. And so we celebrate today this great feast day of Saint Mary Magdalene. And I can't remember exactly what year. I want to say it was in 2015 or 2016. Pope Francis elevated the rank of this feast day to a feast rather than a memorial. So you might know that liturgical feast days, there are kind of three different ranks when it comes to saints and that sort of thing. So they're all kind of generally called a feast day, right? Feast that we celebrate. But specifically, there's one group of them that's called a feast. So the highest category is what we call a solemnity. So on a solemnity of a saint, we'll sing, or we'll have the Gloria, there'll be the Creed, there'll be Old Testament, responsorial psalm, New Testament, gospel. There'll be 3 full readings plus the responsorial psalm. So this would be like St. Peter and Paul. Also the Immaculate Conception of the Blessed Virgin Mary, birthday of Jesus. Actually, Christmas is also a solemnity. This is outside of the normal Sundays. So the highest rank, solemnity, highest solemnity. The next one would be a feast day. So that's what Mary Magdalene's is today. That's also the feast day of the apostles. So I should backtrack. These solemnities here, if they fall on a Sunday in ordinary time, they trump the Sunday. So that's why sometimes on a Sunday we'll celebrate the feast day of Saints Peter and Paul. It'll trump the Sunday in ordinary time. So feast days, this would be Mary Magdalene. Also generally like the apostles. So the St. James is going to be on Saturday the 25th. And even things of Jesus like the transfiguration of Jesus on August the 6th. So we got feast day there in the middle. And then the lowest one would be a memorial. So memorial is just we say the prayers for the saints. There's options to use specific readings for their feast day, but you don't have to. To break that down even further, sometimes memorials are optional or obligatory. Obligatory means we have to celebrate that feast day. Optional, of course, means you can, or you could just celebrate, Tuesday in ordinary time. So that's kind of the ranks of these feast days. So what Pope Francis did, I want to say 2015, 2016, was to move Mary Magdalene's commemoration of her feast from a memorial, an obligatory memorial, to a feast day. So we bumped it up a rank. We have a Gloria. There's a couple extra texts that were written for her feast day. So every year, got to remember to print those out because they're not in our normal missal. Anyways, that's Mary Magdalene. So Pope Francis wanted to give her more importance, which is a great thing. It's always kind of great to have added solemnities because it gives you something to look forward to. And that's what all of these solemnities are. It's important to follow the liturgical calendar because it gives us things to look forward to, things to get excited about. And even if you can't make it to Mass those days, to be able to pray, maybe to remember those saints, maybe even to read the specific daily Mass readings for those feast days. And those, of course, are in the bulletin. We with the readings that are in the bulletin, we include what saint's feast day it is. I don't know if it says feast or if it says memorial, like kind of how you have to parse that out. So anyways, that's a little quick primer in liturgical feast days. The other thing outside of Mary Magdalene, just wanted to mention is that our registrations for all youth ministry related events are now open for the upcoming year of catechesis, the upcoming school year. So that goes all the way for like the pre-K of catechesis of the Good Shepherd through all of the different grades, first through 8th grade, and then for our high school youth ministry as well. So all of those are open for registration. 3 ways to register. There are forms on the near the doors in all the churches. So if you want to fill those out, get those back to the parish office. You can also register online. You can go to our website, holyfaceparish.org. And then the last way, anybody who we had in the system received an email through Flocknote last Friday. So go ahead and register. It's one of those things that's like, yeah, I could do that. It doesn't start for another month. If you're like me, you're busy. Maybe you got the fair coming up and you're like, I'll just do that later. Just go ahead and do it now, right? Just get it out of the way. That way it's one less thing to worry about. I know that is always helpful for me. Sometimes things get put off the back burner and I forget to do them. That actually, I just had something dawn on me this morning that I forgot to do. Not great. So anyways, go ahead, register for youth ministry. Last little bit of advice, something else that Pope Francis instituted a few years ago was on the feasts of St. Joachim and Anne, which is an obligatory memorial for those keeping track at home. Joachim and Anne, the parents of the Blessed Virgin Mary, their memorial is July 26, which is this upcoming Sunday. Of course, the Sunday in ordinary time takes precedence, but it is a day to remember grandparents and the elderly, Pope Francis said. So maybe you've got an elderly grandparent. Maybe write them a card. Maybe just say a prayer for them. If they've passed, maybe visit their grave on that day. So great day to remember our grandparents who have done so much for us. Say a prayer for them. Tell them thank you. Give them a call. And if they're still alive, I know they always appreciate visits. So that's the Couch Chat this week. We'll talk to you later. And have a great week. Bye. There's the couch, in case you forgot.